Welcome to Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We just got moved in on a job this morning. Looked at it earlier, and then I brought my dozer up here. I finished, it seemed like the last 3 or 4 days they've either been in the grader or in the bulldozer. Getting one job finished and getting on the dozer, going doing another one, get back in the grader and go do that one. So I've been leaving my stuff kind of where I was working and go by and get it. And I usually leave the grader at the house, and then I'll pull my pickup somewhere, then take it back to the house and get in the truck. So anyway, got moved in on this, and I've spent a couple hours just knocking stuff down where I could see what needs to be done or the best way to fix it. Got a road right there at the end of these weeds, a gravel road. It used to be a county road, and I think they've just about surrendered it back to the landowners because it just goes up here and stops. But right through there somewhere is a culvert in the road. Don't know yet whether it's stopped up or just all of this is lower than the culvert, but it stands water once this tank fills up, which it's probably not 3 or 4 foot deep right now. It might be 5, but there's a tremendous watershed coming down through here, and all of this where these weeds are is just silt that's been dumped in here. Anytime that water slows down to fill in a pond, it backs up and just keeps dumping silt out and goes on down there to another pond behind that silver barn and stuff. Pretty good sized pond. Man that owns that over there owns this over here. Then this was just a 20-something acre trap someone had bought and got transferred, and he bought this, but he owns all that field all the way up through there, up behind them houses, 200-something acre field. So, and he's the one I just finished the fence row on. The last job was working on the road and then leveling up around the barn, and then fence row and everything. So it's hard to keep track of everything right now. So anyway, I was going to take some dirt off of the dam, mainly over here, to start filling that. But the way that is, I'd have to back up toward the water and push, or push the dirt from over there out here, then turn around and take it. Well, that's a straight shot, and all this stands water about 1 foot deep. Right now I think the culvert's the control point, and if it's stopped up, that's why all this water stands here. But water does come around here eventually. There's a deeper creek over between the dozer and that heavy brush that comes over here, and it just stops right here. Well, that holds water, and then all of that holds water, and it's just wasted space. If I can get that up high enough, he can put a set of pins here in this corner, because he'll put a gate over there where my truck's parked, and all the cattle can come through here, and this will be a holding area, and the road's right there. So I decided to get out over here, since this stands water anyway. If I can get 4, 5, 6 foot deep, that'll be 4, 5, 6 foot of water, and I'll take this down just a little bit. If I take it down too much, I'll have to probably raise that up. I'm going to right now let the spillway be maybe 30 foot wide from over there right straight to the fence. That's probably not enough for as much water comes down through here, but we don't get rains like we've had this spring, maybe once every 10 years or something. So it's going to silt in eventually, but I've got to get that up high enough to where it don't stand water. Regardless if the culverts are stopped up, I mean, it'll go over the road if it's been going that way anyway, but it just stands back here. That's probably, this is the first time that's been dry since probably April. This is 1st of September, so if I can get that filled up, and they're going to come out here and try to mow around them culverts where I can see where the end of them are, then I can take an elevation shot and figure out basically how much the spillway's being raised up. I don't want to raise it up any, because there's a fence right there, and it goes across that low area, and that's the property line, and I can't back water up from here over on the other side of that property line unless it's already been standing there. So as of right now, I'm not raising no spillway up because the road's a control point. The road's what making it stand water now back in here. Plus 100 years of silt washed down here. Like I say, I'm just now getting into some red dirt. That's all silt there. So anyway, like I say, this thing's, there's a lot of dirt up here, but I bet you that thing's plumb full of silt. It's never been cleaned out, I don't think. It's just about a hog waller now. We seen one earlier when we was out here looking around, but you can see they come up here at night and big old bullfrogs. And then this pole, that's the only part I don't like. That pole has got water standing around it when everything's full. It's not due to what I'm doing, but it's just silted in. That's a big hump of silt on the other side of them trees, and there's a ditch on the other side of it. The water comes in here, backs up, goes around, comes into another ditch over there. So regardless of what we do there, this would be a good spot just to dig a hole, and you got to get rid of the dirt anyway, fill that up where it don't stand water, and you could make a bigger tank right here than this probably ever was. Or if it ever dries up, you can make this bigger, but who knows when that's going to happen, because there's a road from this fence all the way up there 1/4 of a mile, and it's raised up, and so the water hits that road and comes down here to this tank, fills the tank up, and it comes around here. So, but I mean, that's nothing but uphill from here all the way up top of that hill, and that's all that water that comes off where that white looking barn is, that house up there. It's 1/4 of a mile from the main road. It all comes down through here. So a lot of drainage, and this is what happens when you deal with a lot of drainage. You deal with a lot of silt. So anyway, I'm going to put the camera up now since I can kind of see where I'm going to be working, and I may try to just sit it up on a tripod somewhere either here or over there. Sun's that way, so I think today's going to be the last hot day for a while. They said 102 today, so then I think it's going to be in the 70s, and maybe a chance of rain here in the next couple days. So that's what I thought. If I can get a pretty good hole here, then if it rains, I'll finish it up with the dam, taking the dirt off the dam. And if I get enough dirt from out of there, I won't mess with the dam. I mean, it's a nice wide dam, got a lot of dirt here, but time I back up with my, get over here, I don't have but 30 foot and I'm off of the dam. So really, even though that's a little farther, I can push more dirt over there faster from back here than I could off of this right here. So, and that's a pretty nice shade tree. Cows will probably like that, and I hate to knock it down. But I mean, this is real tall. It's a long way down to the water, but that's going to be what I'm doing for the next 2-3 days, or until I get rained out. So we'll see how it looks. Right now it don't look like nothing, just a bunch of weeds, and that's even got a ditch running through it. Where the weeds stand water, of course they're 2 foot tall, they don't stand that deep, but you can see around the edge where the dry grass is, that doesn't stand water. So that's kind of where I've got to make it that high from the back of the dam, that way as much as we want to, and leaving an opening for the spillway down there next to the road. So we'll set it up on the camera, and appreciate y'all watching this channel. Thanks, bye. Thanks for watching Dunsmore Moving Dirt. We're back out here where I guess I'm enlarging the pond to get enough dirt to fill in the low area behind the dam. So at first we was going to take it off the dam, and when I got over there and started working, I could see that I might as well be digging a hole and getting the dirt, because there wasn't going to be enough off that dam to do it anyway. So when I'm digging a hole, I like for it to stay in water, so kind of get 2 for 1 then. So anyway, when we was out here last, it started raining, so I had to gather up everything and shut everything down. It didn't mount to much, but it sure got me wet while I was doing it. Then I think I got a picture of a hog, maybe on my phone. He walked down to the tank while I was working right there beside him, and he wasn't scared at all. And then that same morning when I was coming in, I turned down the gravel road and seen something standing in the middle of the road, and I thought it was a calf. Someone's calf got out. Well, the closer I got, I could tell it was a hog, and he let me get within 20 foot of him, and he didn't run off. He just walked off in the bar ditch. Of course, he disappeared because the Johnson grass was 6 foot tall. So, but they're not scared of nothing, and that's kind of wondering why that is. Usually they see a vehicle or a human and they take off. Well, they don't take off up here. They just stand there and look at you. Then I seen a big rattlesnake up next to the road when I was over cutting the weeds out by the culvert. Before he got it mowed, he come mowed it over the weekend. It was a big one, and there's rattlesnakes up here, and I guess there's also wild hogs. So anyway, I'm going to dig. I think I'm about to get enough dirt up there to start leveling it off, but I may narrow this up right here, and that'll get me closer to the water, and that'll be some close dirt. And I may dig to about dinner for 3 hours, 4 hours, and then I'm going to start pushing that dirt out. And then if I need any more, I'll just get over here and get on this where he's got that mowed over the weekend and get some of that, and that'll all stay in water. The spillway will be up just this side of where that pile of dirt is. So right now the water is the same elevation as the bottom of the culvert, but this really right here where I'm sitting, this little old ledge here's going to act as the spillway, and then when it spills into this hole, that'll act as the spillway. This elevation's about 3 or 4 tenths higher than that is down there. So, but I'll leave this, maybe both holes will be the same. I just soon cut that out as close as I can, and then when this goes dry, he can always enlarge this. And this right now, this hole here that I've dug out is probably deeper than this one. I think it's just full of mud, so that'll narrow that up a little bit, and he can always dig that out up there, and that'll stay in water, and put the dirt out here in the brush side. So anyway, we'll see what we can get done this morning. I'll set the camera up, let y'all see some of that when we get started. Thanks for watching. Bye. Sitting here working, and I happened to look over, so I seen something moving out of the corner of my eye. Big old hog come down there, and had to get in the tank and do a little watering this morning. All you can see is his ears and his there he is. And he's back, got his nose under the, there he goes, he got a little air. See what happens when I honk my horn. Never moved. And things is getting where they're not scared of nothing. There was one standing in the middle of the road this morning when I come up here. And I just slowed down and he just stood there looking at me. I got within 20 foot of him and he walked off into the Johnson grass. Well, he's just settling in. He's not going to go nowhere. Huh. Don't go up there and knock my level over. Where'd he go? He's not no big hurry. That loose dirt. Well, he's gone into the weeds. gonna call it a day. That's taking more. I thought I was gonna get along better than I did today, but I think once I get this corner here filled up, I've still got quite a bit of dirt there, and the hole, I can move it over where it's so much closer, but I spread that out on the other side a while ago, and I could tell I wasn't quite going to have enough dirt here in this corner, so just got me in a groove and went to pushing, and it come up pretty quick. But I'm going to go that over there that I've already got knocked down. It's the height of the top of the culvert, but from there to the fence I've dropped it down a foot. What that'll be, it'll be a foot higher than the bottom of the culvert. So if the culvert's running full of water, there'll be a foot of water on that ground, but then it will drain down. As soon as it gets through running through the culvert, there won't be no water standing. So that's basically what he's wanted, because all this corner here for an acre or so stood water, so, but it won't now. So, and then he's got another hole that'll hold water besides that. So this here I'll cut and back drag it. All of this area right here is the same height as the top of the culvert. So I'll just start tapering everything from there down to where, and then the tank will spill around the edge over there. I'll have to define a place for that. So anyway, do quite a bit of dirt today, so we'll be back out here tomorrow. I thought I might could finish up today, but I could tell pretty quick when I was starting pushing that dirt that wasn't going to happen. So I bet I can get it tomorrow though, so we'll let y'all see some of that tomorrow. Appreciate you watching this channel. If you hadn't subscribed, wish you do that. Hit the like button, share it with all your friends, and like always, like your feedback, comments that you got. So remember, I do the dirt. Thanks for watching. Bye. Welcome to Dunsmore Moving Dirt. I just got this pad in the tank dug that I got the dirt out of finished. I got it roughed in. I might bring my grader up here next day or so and kind of dress it over. Not the hole everything, but here's the hole when I got finished pushing all the dirt up here and building that, filling in that low area. I'd stand outside, but the wind's blowing a lot, so try to do it from the inside of the pickup. So made a nice little hole here. I mean, it took a lot of dirt. There wouldn't have been that much dirt in that dam if I'd have tore it down, and I explained why I didn't want to do that, because that was just not a good way to get dirt over there. And this was a straight shot, which you can move more dirt quicker with the bulldozer if you ain't got to sit there and twist and turn around and try to dig sideways and everything. So that worked out pretty good. The tank will hold another, on top of the water, another 1.5 feet of water, so this will be about 8 foot deep. And right here is the spillway for the tank now, and then all of that other stuff drains off either direction, but then it goes to the culvert over here in the road. So before I started, everything from behind the dam all the way to the road stood water. So I tried to knock it down. I started to back drag it, and he said something about blading the gravel road, so I may just bring the grader over here. It'd look better if I'll blade it with that grader instead of trying to back drag it with that bulldozer. So, but that's going to reclaim this water hole. I mean, that's not going to stand water no more. We're driving in the spillway of when all of that spills, so that's probably 2 foot higher than where we're driving. So that water won't ever get up there. Then I had to make a little cut around that side of the dam because it catches a little bit of water, so it'll go behind the dam and go in the tank. Anyway, if he'll let me blade it, that'll really shape that up. So, and there's that flag next to the fence. That's 1/2 foot taller than the bottom of the culvert, so I'm probably 1.5 feet down here above the bottom of the culvert, and up at the gate I'm at the top of the culvert. So if it fills up with water, it won't be on top of this. So there's looking back toward the tank, so it's gonna look good, and get it slicked off, and he gets a little grass growing on there. So I'll try to show it to you again after I get it bladed off. I'm gonna go over here across the road and get my trailer and come over here and fill this thing up and take my trailer in. And I gotta go put a pipe in between 2 dams that I worked on west of here, so I'll let you see some of that tomorrow when I get over. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna bring my truck in the morning and move my dozer over there, do that, take the truck in, and probably haul the grader back on the truck and slick this off here. So we'll let y'all see some of that when we get back over here. So thanks for watching again. If you hadn't subscribed, wish you'd do that, and hit the like button, share it with all your friends, and keep your blade shining, your tracks clean, and I do the dirt. Thanks for watching. Bye.